Hi everybody, Cheryl and Lady coming to you from the garden. So Lady and I have been getting the garden ready for winter, and we wanted to show you how we do some of the tasks that make up putting the garden to bed. These aren't particularly difficult or strenuous, but they are important to do to get your soil healthy and ready for the spring, to mitigate diseases, and keep your soil from eroding in the harsh wind and cold. So here's what we've done. So here I'm clearing some cherry tomatoes, and I start by cutting the bottom of the plants at the soil line. This keeps the roots in the soil to feed it with organic matter. It'll break down over the course of the winter. And since it was a healthy plant, I'm going to add it to the compost pile. If it was diseased in some way, I'd throw it in the garbage, or if I had a fire pit, I'd burn it. But the point is, you want diseased foliage out of the garden. Otherwise, it could contaminate your garden's healthy soil. So I have 3 compost piles. I hope you can see. The loose one to the right of the bin is bulkier garden waste, and which breaks down slowly, but it is a great lazy way to compost. You just pile it on, and then next year I'll come back, turn it over, and there'll be some nice soil at the bottom to get started the garden. And then in the black grow bag are some leaves that I'll use as mulch. And in the bin, which luckily was here when I moved in, it's a more controlled type of compost for things like kitchen scraps that I don't want animals to get into. So now is a good time to start either a new compost bin or pile as you clear all of the debris out of your garden. So compost needs a balance of nitrogen and carbon. Nitrogen are the greens. They're things like the kitchen scraps, the fresh leaves, even coffee grounds are nitrogen. Browns, the carbons, are things like cardboard, sticks, dried leaves, newsprint, brown paper bags, that kind of thing. I don't get too specific in my balance, but generally for every 2 coffee cans of kitchen scraps, I put in 1 big paper bag of browns, and I shred them and make them as small as possible because they break down faster. All that being said, I did not make nearly enough compost from my garden this year, and I did end up having to buy a couple of bags to supplement, which was not cheap. So once the bed is cleared of all the above ground dead plants, we're going to amend the soil with 3 layers of really important materials: compost, fertilizer, and mulch. So compost first, we spread at least 2 inches of compost on top of the soil. I do this every year. I ran out of compost today. This was my last bag, so I'm spreading it very thinly. I'm not that concerned though, because I just created this bed in April and I used really good container soil and compost then. And in the spring, I'll probably come in and add more compost when I'm planting. The next layer is handfuls of this dry organic fertilizer. This is Garden Tone. It's a mix for herbs and vegetables, and it slowly breaks down as it rains. This lasted me all year, and I think it worked very well for my garden. And the last layer is mulching. Mulch can be things like wood chips, straw, leaves, even more compost. And the purpose of the mulch is to suppress any weeds that are going to grow throughout the winter and provide organic matter that'll break down and feed the microbes into the soil. My favorite mulch is fallen leaves because they're free. And I have a wonderful Japanese maple in the front yard. The leaves dry without matting down, and they get crumbly and break down very quickly. And now the bed is ready for winter. Coming up, an explanation of our fashion choices. But first, here's a tour of the garden. So I completed a couple of more garden tasks to get my garden ready for the winter. I mulched with some more leaves. I did end up pulling out these marigolds. I just plopped them on top of the beds under the tree there. just to give Lady a little bit more room in the garden. I decided to leave some of them up. Well, that celery sure is going to town still. So all in all, I'm pretty satisfied that if, you know, as we head into the really cold winter, I've got the vast majority of tasks done. I started a new compost cycle in the bin. What I do is I keep my kitchen scraps in these coffee containers and stuff. And then when I'm starting a new compost pile, I just kind of collect them over time, and then I dump them in all together with some, you know, brown stuff, whether it's cardboard or leaves. So I started that today. And I just kept these in the ground, these marigolds in the ground where the tomatoes used to be, and just moved them out of Lady's way. So she's got a little bit more room. And I used garden stakes to just, hopefully I've noticed that a lot of the leaves are, you know, they're blowing away in some hefty wind, so I'm hoping that'll help. Here are the Brussels sprouts. No sign of sprouts yet, but they're still growing. Garlic and onion that I planted just about a month ago, that started coming up. So I hope they overwinter and we get stuff next year. And here's that living mulch I was telling you about. It's getting a little bit bigger. So, and I decided to leave some of the marigolds in just so the birds have some seed to eat. Doesn't look very nice, but... And so, other than having to cover this to keep it going in the winter with some row cover and frost cloth, I think I'm pretty good out here. So before Lady and I even step foot into the garden, we make sure we're dressed for success. Here's Lady's new Christmas bow. It replaced her fall leaves collar that was earlier in the video. And I'm sporting my 25-year-old Looney Tunes jacket, muck boots with vegetable decorations, which you can't see, lovely lime green gardening gloves, and laugh all you want at my Trinity Lacrosse bucket hat, but it keeps the sun off my face, the bugs out of my hair, and my head warm in the cold. So I'm going to keep on wearing it, even though it makes me look like I'm the wacky neighborhood old lady. I don't care. Okay, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Oh. Say goodbye, Lady. Say goodbye. My sweet girl.